All right, so today we're gonna do kind of like a marathon. So I'm sorry that it's going to be a marathon today. But my goal is for us to go over, so rather than giving you the opportunity to read like we always do, and you guys read a lot, I'm just gonna go through the letters and we're just gonna go through them as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the letters that we're gonna go over today are, some of them are the hardest letters, and part of the reason why they're the hardest letters is because they do not appear a lot. So it's not that they are hard necessarily, but they just don't appear a lot, and that's why people don't remember them. So, you know, the Bet and the Tav and all of that appears. Just a second, let me shut the door. I forgot. Okay.
Dina, do you have your sign on the door?
Yeah, I'm about to put it on. I forgot. I totally forgot about that. Okay. So some of them actually, some of these letters, the sounds are difficult, but some of them are not necessarily difficult sounds, but they just don't appear a lot. So let's start with the letter Pei. So Pei is the P sound. So it doesn't, you know, so it will have the dot, and it's important to pay attention to the dot, the Pei. So this would be Pa and Pa. Okay, they're both Pa. All right. So I'd like for somebody to read line 1, and that would be Philip. Read line 1.
Pe, P, Po, Pa, Pe, P, Pa, Po, Pe, Pa.
Okay. And line 2, Jim.
Sure. Okay. Pay, po, pa, pay. Let's see. Peel, pa, pull, and pour.
Okay. All right. What is this word right here? What is that, Martin? What does it say here?
Oh, Pesach.
Pesach. Pesach is which holiday? Do you know what it is?
Passover.
Passover. So Passover is on matzah, right? It's actually this year, I think maybe April, I think. We drink 4 cups of wine and we eat matzah for 7 days, and it has to do with the story of Exodus from Egypt. Okay, the next holiday that is mentioned here is what?
Purim.
Purim. Purim means lots or lottery. That's really the meaning of it. And it, again, it's based on the story of Esther in the Megillah. Megillah is a scroll. And it has Purim means lots because Haman drew lottery, right? Kind of like rolled the dice to decide on which date he was going to kill all the Jewish people. So this is the letter Pei. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now this is the letter Fei. So Fei doesn't have the dot. So Fei becomes an F and Pei becomes a P. And that's what the confusing part. So what makes it as an F is without the dot. So with the dot is a P. So this is the P sound with a dot. And without the dot, it's the F sound. All right, so Cora, line 1.
P, Phi, Pho, Fam,
Fum.
Fo, Fu,
Mhm.
Nafal, Ephes,
Very good.
Shafal, Shafan, Hafas.
Okay, very good. All right, so moving right along, I know we're just like going through this really, really quick. Now, remember we talked about final letters. So we have the final fe, which will be at the end of a word. Final fe. Okay. Courtney, line 7.
Soph. Daf,
Mhm,
Yof, Haf,
mhm.
Kaf,
That's a tet. which
okay,
is,
struggling. Tef,
Taf.
Taf. What's the dot above, like the corner up there? Remind me.
That's an O sound.
Hmm.
O sound. O.
Oh. Toph,
Very good.
Off, Asaf.
Very good. All right, so let's look at line 9. So remember, this is actually silent, right? Okay. So Martine, sorry, who did not read first time? Is there somebody who has not read the first time, or everybody went one time at least? Martine, did you?
I didn't.
Okay, so go to line 9.
Didef,
Diff, def.
Tifdef, yeah. Tiftef,
Very good.
Shif, Chef. Is that a M?
Yes,
Nif, Nef,
very good.
Intef,
Uh-huh.
Yanuf.
Yeah.
Oh, Yanuf. No, Yanuf. No, Yashnuf, Shuf.
Very good. Okay. All right, excellent. All right, let's move along. Okay, so I'm really, really going to go through this quickly. Let me just erase this. So if you remember that I told you that Hebrew is, we read context, not content. And this is actually the best example of what we mean by context and not content, because once we remove the vowels, it can mean different things. So the vowel is, so the shorish, the root is samech, pei, or fei, and resh. So the shorish, this shorish can mean count, recount, or tell a story, or ascribe. So it means many, many, many things. Okay. So remember, when you actually look at this shorish, it could be cut hair, told a story, counted numbers, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go through it because I still want to go through all the letters. But if we have time, I'm going to come back to this one. This letter is Zayin, which is the Z sound. Z. Now, the Z sound, the Zayin letter doesn't appear a lot, but Gimel, which is the G sound, I mean, I know I'm writing as a G, but it's not a G, it's a G. Zayin and Gimel. And the reason why they put them together is because sometimes people get confused on the way they look. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so here is Zain. Cora, what is this vowel here? What is this?
Zo.
Uh-huh.
Zo.
Okay, could you read line 1, please?
Yeah. Zu. Zo. Zi. Ze. Zo. How would this one be if there's no vowel?
Yeah. Z.
Just the, okay. Ze. Zu. Zai. Ze.
Okay, very good. And line 2, Courtney?
Ze. Zez. No. Zaz.
Mhm.
Zan. Az. Zer.
Mhm.
Zar. Mazal.
Mhm.
Sova.
Tov.
Bo. Zen.
Okay. Okay, so Mazal Tov, I know that we say Mazel Tov, but it's Mazal Tov. Actually, Courtney, you pronounced it correctly. You said Mazal Tov, and that's how we're supposed to say it, Mazal Tov. What does Mazal Tov mean?
Good luck. No.
Okay, so good luck, okay, and what else?
Congratulations.
Congratulations and good fortune, right? However, if I'm getting married, what would be the correct translation?
Mazel tov.
Which is what? Congratulations, right?
Uh-huh.
The truth is, I know we translate as good luck or good fortune, but if, let's say, if I'm getting married and you say Mazal Tov is good luck, what does it sound like? If we translate as good luck is a bad thing, right? Good luck with getting married, right? No, I'm just being funny because actually George just told me that somebody was getting married and on Facebook he wrote down Mazal Tov in Hebrew and he translated as good luck and the person was upset, you know, they kind of knew what he meant, but remember it's, so actually the translate of good luck doesn't always work. So it's Mazal Tov means really congratulations.
But it means also that if you say it in that context of a marriage, it means also that, you know, we wish that it will be a good match in the good fortune and God is not forgiving you.
Because Mazal is true, is fortune and it's luck, right?
Mhm.
Mazal, that's what it's right. But yeah. Mazal. So if I say, so the word Mazal, if I say Yesh lach mazal, you have fortune, you have luck. That's what I mean. You know, I could say that. All right, so this is the letter Gimel. So we have Ga. And Jim, read line 1.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Ga. Yep. Yep. Ga. Ge. Go. Ga. Ge.
No, the 3 dots diagonal would be
Oh
what?
yeah, it's goo. Goo.
Very good.
Goo. Ga.
No,
Oh.
what would this be?
Oh, which one?
Right here. Is that the T over here?
Oh yeah, you talked about that last week.
So what would that be?
Um.
It's an O vowel, so it will be
Okay, so that would be go.
go. Very good.
Go. Okay. Okay. Also go. Goo. So this is the big T. That would be go, wouldn't it?
Very good.
That would be go. Okay. And
But
then
remember here, they do actually distinguish between the small one and the big one.
yeah.
But when you read the prayer book, it doesn't, you just have to remember that.
Okay. 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 Then gi,
Oh, that would be, oh, gi, yeah, sorry.
yeah, gi, let's see, so that would be, that, see that, the two dots is still ga, right?
No, two dots is right?
Okay, ga, and then, ga, sorry.
Okay, Philip, line 2.
Gun.
Mhm.
Ga. Gum. Gar.
It's two dots.
Ga.
Ger, it's a.
Gear. Gear. A. Gear. Gal. Gav.
Mhm.
Goff.
Vowel.
Goof. Goof.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Dog.
Mhm.
I'm trying to switch the sounds because I want to say the G sound to be it. Hog
Okay, very good.
and oops. Gear.
Gear. Uh-huh.
Gear.
Okay. All right, so. Okay, so the dot, does it make a difference? With the top? No. Now, which letters, do you remember that it does make a difference? Do you know? Do you remember which letters?
Pei and Fei,
Uh-huh.
and probably Sin and Shin, because there's a dot as well.
And what else?
Bet and vet.
Et and vet, very good.
The cough and huff.
Very good, very good. However, so remember this one. So this is a tricky one, right? So let's talk about the letter Vav. So the letter Vav has the C sound, but it also, sorry, as the V sound. Yeah. Yes, the letter Vav has the V sound, right? But we also learned that the letter Vav appears as a vowel. So what's the vowel? What's the vowel of yeah, O and
The
O and
Ooh,
O and U, right? Okay, so let's talk about Vav. So Vav, right, has the V sound. Yeah. So if I put a vowel, so this would be what?
Would be Va.
Va, right? Or if I put this vowel, it would be what?
V.
Now, what about this? It would be what?
Is it Vu?
Vu, right? Because the first one is the letter Vav, and then it's the U, Vu, right? And then what about this one? It will be what?
That would be Vo.
Oh, very good. Now, sometimes the letter Vav appears in words like this. So at the beginning, what will it be at the beginning?
just the.
Ve, right? Vechol, remember this is an O, vechol, and all. So the ve at the beginning of a word is and, ve. Sometimes it appears at the beginning of a word as so what would this be? Sorry, the first one would be what?
That would be ooh.
Very good. Ufchol.
Oofko.
So u, ve, and u also means end. Both of them means end at the beginning of a word. Ve and u, end. So Hebrew is a language that's built on prefixes and suffixes, right? So the prefix ve and u both means end. Now, sometimes, which makes it very tricky, is that you have this. And people get confused because now what is it? What's their first, what do they think that it might be?
Vo.
Or what else? Sorry. What else could it be?
Fa.
It's va, but because of the dot in the middle, they think it is what?
Vo.
U, right?
Oh.
U. That's where the confusion. So there is this word that appears in a halftone. Me. So, and this is how it is spelled. And people think sometimes, actually, I think that's how it appears. Sorry, like this. Oh, shoot. So when they look at it, do I need to make it bigger? Okay, so when they look at it, they get confused and they think that this would be what? An U. But the indication that it's not an U is because there is a vowel underneath it. So how would we read this one? So first of all, this would be what? Me.
Yeah.
And what would this be then?
Av.
Tzav, exactly. So now this would be the V sound. Metzavcha. Metzavcha. And the indication that this is a V and not an U, even though there is a dot, and that's the confusion, is because there is a vowel underneath it.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. The other indication to tell you that this is a V and not an U is because in the letter prior, there is a vowel also. Metzavcha. Okay, Metzavcha. Sorry, my phone. Okay. Got it? Okay, now let me actually show you another word. Oh, did we learn the tzaddik? Have we learned the tzaddik? The tz? Okay. All right, so this is actually a word, sorry, that the vav appears here a lot and people get mistaken about it. So the first part of it would be what?
Mitz.
Right? Now, what about this one right here? What about this?
Vo.
Vo.
Vo. Right. Now, how did you know that this is a vo?
Because you have the V and the other one would be the valve.
Right, so mitzvah. However, sometimes it is written like this. And that's what makes it difficult. So they do not have the vav before. And the way that you would know that this is a vo is because there is a vowel on before it. So it would be mitzvah.
Mhm.
Okay, what about the end?
Tav.
Tav, right, the yud is silent. Mitzvotav. Mitzvotav comes from the word mitzvot. What are mitzvot?
The commandments.
So you see when you say Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav, with his commandments. Okay. All right, let me show you another word. Okay, how would you read this one? So the first part would be what? That's an ayin, right? So it would be what?
So Av,
Ah, okay. What about the rest of it then? So now what will happen to the vav? Is it an O or a vo? What would that be?
is it Avon?
Avon. Now, how did you know that it is avon? So it's kind of like the vav has two functions. It's the vav and the O at the same time. How did you know that it was a vo? What gave you that clue?
I don't know, to be honest.
But again, the fact that there's a vowel preceding it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a vowel before. So if there is a vowel before, then it is a vo. There's a vowel here, there's a vowel here. Over here, the dot is actually means absolutely nothing. You look at the va over here. Got it?
Would
This-
it be not possible to have two vocal one after the other, like a or o?
What do you mean?
There's
Yeah, you
no,
can have a-o. You mean with a vav?
yeah, with the one valve after the other, you know, a ought, a o, a on, something like that is not possible because you base the explanation. I mean, you give the explanation saying because we have a valve preceding. But is it not a possibility that there will be a valve and another valve and then the consonant in a word, like our own, for example?
Uh,
No,
There
okay,
will be a-on? No,
yeah, no,
no, only avon. If there is a vowel preceding it, it's avon. If there is no vowel, let's say it could be something like this, on, but then there is no vowel here.
okay, so it would be carried with another,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I know what you mean. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so let's look at these words. So now, if u, all right, and va, then it will be va. This will be va together. It won't be uva, it's va, it's just va. So line 7, Martine, read line 7. You're on mute, actually, Martine. Sorry, you're on mute.
Excuse me, I was already at almost at the end.
I understand.
Okay, okay, va, vo, ve, vi, hiver,
Uh-huh.
liva, hava, shivot, or no, I'm not quite sure about this one.
Shivu.
Okay, kavana, kivaim,
No, so this would be just that.
kivaim.
Kivun. It's that. So the
Oh,
first one,
kivun, pardon, kivun, yes, kivun. Mhm. And kaveret, oh, I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry.
so what you need to remember that if the vav already has a vowel, you do not pronounce the dot as u. That's what you need to remember. Okay, so we have the letter kuf, which is K. Sorry, I don't know what this is. kuf, and then we have tsadi, like in the word pizza, tsadi, and then we have the final tsadi. So kuf has the sound of K. What is another letter that has the sound of K?
Cough.
Right? My writing is really great, but kaf and kuf. Now remember that I told you that sometimes there is a distinction. I mean, we do not, okay, so Israelis today refer to the kaf and the kuf, the same sound, k. There's no difference. Just like in English, you have C and K, very similar idea of C and K, all right? So the kaf is kind of like the C and the kuf is the K. However, when you go to a service, a Sephardic service, they do distinguish between the two. They refer to the kaf as a k and the kuf as a ka. Ka, 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 ka. That's how they would read it. Yeah. Okay. You will mainly see it actually, because I'm an Iraqi Jew, where Iraqi Jews have their own dialect of Arabic. They do. And they do speak a lot with the ka from here, ka, 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 ka. When you go to a service in Iraqi service, you will actually really hear the difference between the kaf and the kuf. Okay. Now, Yemenite, on the other hand, their difference, like when you go to their service, you would hear a lot the ha, the ha and the ha. They really distinguish between the two. So remember, it depends where they came from, and it had to do with the language of where they were. You know what I'm saying? That's where it came from. And then you have the tzaddik and the final tzaddik. Okay, so the tzaddik, the best way that I can tell you to remember the sound is like pizza. Okay. All right, so let's start with Martine. Number one. Well, you're on mute, Martine.
Yeah. Ki, ka, ka,
No, that vowel will
kai,
be
kai, kai. It's a kai.
T, so it will become ko.
It's a ko.
The
Okay.
two T and the two dots is an O, ko.
Correct. It's used. Yeah. Ku, ko, ke, kai,
Mhm.
ke, kal, ko.
Okay, Courtney, line 2.
Kem,
And the vowel
sorry. Ken. Kat,
mhm.
cool.
What's the spell here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kol.
Uh-huh.
Koma.
Mhm.
Kaal. Kahal. Kava'a.
Kava. All right, so this word right here means kadosh. Kadosh is holy. Now, there is a prayer that we say kadosh, 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 which means holy, 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 and we get on our, you see, that's where they have those feet going up. Because when we say the kadosh and we go up, it's like we're closer to God. That's why we do that. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. And Kedush, does anybody know what the Kedush is?
Sanctification.
Yes, the blessing over the wine, right? The sanctification. So I want you to remember the root, because this appears a lot in our prayer books. Kuf, Dalet, Shin. means holy or to sanctify. So let's look at line 7. Please read line 7, Philip.
Kadesh.
There's an E here.
Kad. Kadish.
Kadish.
Kadish. Kadosh.
Mhm.
Kedusha.
Mhm.
Kedosh.
Kiddush.
Kedush.
You know, we say kiddush, but it's kiddush. That's the correct word to say, kiddush.
Kedush.
Uh-huh.
Hag. Ooh, these consonant clusters. Okay. Ha Kedoshim.
Okay, very good. So Kaddish is the prayer, right? I don't know if you've heard it. It's the mourner's Kaddish. Have you ever heard of that? Mourner's Kaddish. So the mourner's Kaddish talks about God's holiness. There are actually a few types of Kaddish if you open a Siddur, but I'm just going to talk mainly about the mourner's Kaddish. The Kaddish is written in Aramaic and not in Hebrew. Okay, it's in Aramaic. And really, the entire Kaddish talks about God's holiness and how God is great. And when people ask why when someone dies, we talk about God's greatness, because part of the reason why we say Kaddish, and it's really mainly about His greatness, is when someone dies, when we're grieving, it's very hard for us to understand, right? It's difficult to understand why someone dies. So the Kaddish basically talks about God's greatness to understand that there is a bigger plan. We don't know what it is, right? But that's what it's about. So this is the mourner's Kaddish. Kadosh means holy. Kedusha is another prayer. Sorry, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. In the Amidah, we have 18 blessings. And the third one is called Kedusha, which talks about God's holiness. And that is when we do the Kadosh, 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 and we lift our legs, our feet up. That's what it is about. Kiddush is the blessing over the wine, and we say it every Friday. I mean, every time we say the Kiddush, every time we bless the wine, we say the Kiddush. We bless the wine, we sanctify, we make it holy. But we normally say it on Shabbat because we want to make the Shabbat holy too, right? And Hakdoshim is the holy one, the holy one. Now, number 8, I want to go over number 8. So please read Jim, number 8.
Okay. Okay, so see, Beit Kedush.
Beit HaMikdash.
Sorry. Yeah. Hamid. Oh, okay. Hamikdash. That makes more sense. Beit HaMikdash. Let's see. Lashon. Lashon Hakdesh.
HaKodesh, Lashon HaKodesh, and
Hakodesh. Okay. Yeah, there's the O there. Let's see. Adon.
Aaron.
Right. Adon.
Aaron.
Adon Hakodesh.
Aaron HaKodesh. So, Beit HaMikdash, so Mikdash is holy.
Mhm.
It's the temple in Jerusalem. When we refer to the temple in Jerusalem, we call it Beit HaMikdash, the holy temple in Jerusalem. How many temples were there? Do you know? Two temples.
Mhm.
Do you know who destroyed the first temple?
The Babylonians.
And the second one was destroyed by the
The Roman.
Romans, right? So Beit HaMikdash, okay? Lashon HaKodesh is the holy tongue, holy language. Which language do we refer to as holy language, holy tongue?
Hebrew.
Hebrew. Your book is called Lashon HaKodesh, right? Your book, the holy language. So why is it considered to be a holy language? Why do we call Hebrew holy language?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So remember, Hebrew was a dead language, dead spoken language for 2,000 years. It was mainly used how? How did we use Hebrew for so many years, you know?
Mainly used as a liturgical language, a language used for prayer and worship.
Exactly. Only in the scriptures. Hebrew existed only in the scriptures. You know, people read the Torah, they read the prayer books. That was the only way that they used Hebrew for 2,000 years.
Yeah, but excuse me, but then you also have a combination of different languages with Hebrew, like Arabic Hebrew, Latino Hebrew, with Spanish. So it was not completely dead, was it, Dina?
No, it was not completely dead, but the way we speak it today, it was not. So most people had kind of like a dialect of Hebrew, like Ladino,
Like a combination of Hebrew, yeah. Mhm.
Ladino, Yiddish, and all of that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Ladino, Yiddish is still alive. People still speak
Right.
it. But Ladino is, nobody speaks it anymore. And by the way, Aramaic is Hebrew letters.
Mhm.
So Aramaic was one of those two. The Talmud and the Gemara are written in Aramaic. Yeah?
Right.
You're right. But basically, Hebrew was only used for these purposes. It was not necessarily a spoken language like we speak
Okay.
today. Now, Aron HaKodesh is the ark, is the holy ark. What's in the Aron HaKodesh? What's in it?
The Torah is inside.
Right. But remember when the people of Israel left Egypt, you know, there was still an Aron Kodesh, right? They put, that they carried with them.
They did bring it along, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
So the ark. So if you go to any synagogue today, Aron HaKodesh is where we host the Torah, you know, every one of them. And actually, you can read this page. You can read this page. If we have time, we'll come back to it. Now, the word Kiddushanu, that we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu. It means made us holy. Made us holy with his commandments. Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. So the idea of it is, think about it, is that, listen, because of the commandments that we received, we become holier people. If we follow the commandments, right, we become holier people. We do the right things. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the tzaddik. And Cora, line 1.
Ta, zu, so, ze, so, ze, ze, ti, zai,
Say.
they.
All right, line 2, Philip.
Seen? Oh, see. Seer.
Uh-huh.
So.
Sor.
Sor. Som. Son.
Mhm,
Sedek.
mhm.
I have to look at that. I'm not really sure what the vowel says. Oh, it's okay. I wasn't sure if it was a ha or a hey. Hate. Hate see.
Uh-huh.
Hate see. Yeah.
Okay, Philip, what's this word?
Sadaka.
Tzedakah.
Sadaka.
Now we say tzedakah, but actually in Hebrew it's tzedakah. And tzedakah is what?
Charity, justice.
Uh-huh. All right, and this is what, Philip?
Tzitzit.
Tzitzit. Tzitzit are the fringes of the talit.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. How would we read this word, Korah? How would we read this one right here? Line 6.
Me, yeah,
Meets,
mitzvah.
but this is a verb, so it will be meets.
Oh, mitzvah.
Mitzvah. Because there is a vowel before and there is a vowel under, so it's mitzvah. Mitzvah is a commandment. And what about this one right here?
Mitzvot.
Very good. Mitzvot are commandments. So mitzvot is very sneaky word. In mitzvot, the O is both the letter Vav and the vowel O. So mitzvot. Where is the final tzaddik? Did I skip that somewhere? Maybe I did. Wait. That's the regular tzaddik. Oh, okay. Here's the final tzaddik. So tzaddik and final tzaddik. Courtney, read line 1.
It's beets,
What is it? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
beets,
No, boats.
boats. I'm sorry, boats. Gets,
Mm-hmm.
kets,
Mm-hmm.
meets, zits,
Uh-huh.
haloits. No, that is that right?
Halutz.
Halutz. Eritz,
Try again.
eritz. No,
Uh-huh.
eretz. Haaretz. Retz.
All right. Okay. So line 3, let's all of us read line 3. Okay. Because this is the blessing, right? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boreh pari ha'etz. You know what is this blessing for? Etz is tree. So
Is it for Tu B'Shvat?
yeah, in Tu B'Shvat, and every time we eat the fruit,
Mhm.
falls on a tree, we say boreh pri ha'etz. So if I eat an apple or a peach, orange, I would say boreh pri ha'etz.
The fruit of the earth, right?
The fruit of a tree.
Of the tree.
Now, when I say boreh pri hagafen, what am I saying?
The wine.
Yeah, the wine. So on Friday night, when you go to service and they say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boreh pri hagafen, this is basically the Kiddush, the blessing for the wine.
Mhm.
All right. I think we finished all the letters. Okay, so now I can review some things that I wanted to talk about. So guess what? You know all the Hebrew letters. You know all the Hebrew letters and all the vowels. Now, of course, you know, when you go to the prayer book, some things are a lot harder to read. So let's go over here. Actually, let's do line 2. Please read line 2, Martine.
Eretz,
Mhm.
Eretz, Israel.
Mhm.
Israel, Zav, or that,
Zavat.
Zavat, oh, that's a hard one. Zavat, Halam, no,
Yes. Halal.
okay. This one is Vir,
Udvash.
pardon?
Udvash.
Yeah, Vivash. Mhm,
So Eretz, the word Eretz means land.
mhm.
Eretz Israel then would be what?
The land of Israel.
So you need to remember that Eretz Israel is the land of Israel. Now, Eretz Israel is referred to Eretz, Zavat, Chalav, Udvash, the land of milk and honey.
Milk and honey flowing, yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, maybe not, but okay. Line 6, please read Courtney.
This one might be rough.
Yeah.
It's Taim,
Mm-hmm.
Ha'a,
He.
He, La, Mat, Zikim,
Mm-hmm.
Ba,
Mm-hmm.
Vets, Vetom,
Very good.
Vetom, Ka,
Uh-huh. Very good.
Meshar, Meashar.
All right. So the reason why I wanted you to read this one is because of this word, which is Etz Chaim. Does anybody know what Chaim is? Do you remember?
Life.
Uh-huh.
Life.
And Etz is tree of life.
Mhm.
Do you know what we refer to as the tree of life?
The Torah.
Uh-huh. Do you know why?
I've heard this before, but I don't remember.
So the reason why Torah is our tree of life, because what does it give us?
It's the origin of no?
Yeah, the origin of our Judaism and who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Torah has all the commandments that we follow, and it gives us our way of life, really, if you think about it. And that's why it's our tree of life. It sustains us as Jewish people.
Do you
So
refer to the community? Is that the idea of community? Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they say, Etz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba. So the Torah is a tree of life to the ones who grab onto it. Betomcheha meushar, the ones who actually support it are happy. So if we follow the Torah and the commandments, we are happy. Can you imagine if we all actually did what the Torah says? I mean, there would be so many problems that would be eliminated. There would be no stealing, no killing, no cheating, no lying. I mean, think about it. A lot of things will not happen that are really harmful. Okay, yeah, so that's why. So I want you to remember that the Torah is referred to as Etz Chaim, tree of life. And you need to remember that Etz Chaim. The words that I want you to remember is Eretz Israel and Etz Chaim, because these are terms that we do use a lot. So now that we have 3 more minutes, do you have any questions about anything?
Is there any other resources after this that might be good to start looking into as far as getting up on the Hebrew stuff?
Yeah, so first of all, we actually have many recordings. I mean, from if you go to the Beth-El, there will be recording from last sessions about different prayers and what the prayers mean and how to read them. So you can practice that. Honestly, if you go to also the Beth-El Zedek, let me show you our website. If you want to learn prayers, Cantor Melissa has recording of prayers that you can practice with her, how to sing. Now, I think let's say if you look at our prayer book, let's say Lef Shalem or whatever the prayer book that we have, there will be the prayer and the translation, so you will know the meaning of what the prayer says. If you go even to YouTube and you Google any kind of prayer or words or whatever, there's just so many resources out there to learn on your own. But you know, the thing is that you can learn today anything really on YouTube if you think about it, anything and everything. It's just how much time you spend on listening to it. So you can go on YouTube and there will be prayers, there will be vocabulary, there will be letters, there will be songs about letters that you can reinforce everything that we're doing here. The only thing is that, okay, again, to be motivated, and the other thing is to go out there and look for it and do it. That's really the hard part. But, you know, even if you don't spend a lot, I mean, I know that a lot of us think that we have to spend a lot of time, but if we spend little time, even 5 minutes a day, just to review, like if you go to the Beth-El website and you listen to Cantor Melissa, just recite the V'ahavta. When you're going to go to services, you will know how to say it. And if you look at the meaning of what the V'ahavta says, when you pray, when you come to service, you will know, oh, the V'ahavta says, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might, you know, we're commanded to love God, right? So you can go back to it. The other thing is that really, if you remember the roots that we looked at, like, you know, the roots of Kuf Dalet Shin, if you remember that it is holy, and then you come across a word that has to do with Kiddush, Kadosh, Kedoshim, Bekochecha, you will know that it means something that has to do with sanctifying or making holy. So that's why it's important to know certain roots in Hebrew. The word, let's say, it's tzedakah, which is charity, but it also comes from the root justice. It comes from the root kind of like justice and equality, because if I give tzedakah, right, when we say tzedakah, which is money, but it's not just always about money, it can also be charitable acts, right? Then I create some kind of justice in the system. I create somewhat, right? In a way. So in Hebrew, roots have deeper meaning. If you actually look at different roots, they mean one thing, but they can also, if you understand the root, you can see, okay, it's the ka means charity, me giving money, but underneath it, it also means justice. So how by me giving tzedakah or doing charitable acts, how do I create justice in society? That's really what it's all about. You know, like the word teshuvah, to return or repent, it comes from the word to come back, to return. So to come back to the right way of life, you know, that's, you know, so everything in Hebrew has deeper meaning to it. Remember, we talked about shalom. Shalom doesn't just mean hello, hi, goodbye. It actually means being whole and complete and peaceful. So when I say shalom to you, I'm wishing you to be whole and complete and peaceful. So there is a deeper meaning to it. Or, yeah, because it comes from the root shalem, which means to be whole and complete or perfect. So there is a lot more deep. Remember, Hebrew has less words to describe one thing. And then if you look at the deep, I mean, the multiple meanings of one word, then you understand that it has a bigger meaning to it.
I'll just mention a couple things that I've started using to learn Hebrew more generally. Duolingo has a modern Hebrew course, which some people have found helpful. But there's also a site called Memrise, which has a lot of sort of flashcard style exercises. And I've been using one for biblical Hebrew vocabulary, which I think is really helpful. So
Very, very good. Do you mind sharing this, like send it on the email, like do the reply to the email reply all, and then just share the slides, and then people can actually have that, they can look at it.
Sure, yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll do that.
Appreciate that. Jackie, do you want to show them where they can find all the YouTube videos before we go?
So our YouTube channel is literally just Congregation Beth-El Zedek. It's very easy to find.
Okay, so if you go to YouTube and then just put Congregation Beth-El Zedek, and then that's it, that's all they need to do?
And anyone who's familiar with YouTube, so you navigate it by looking at our video selection, our playlist, and everything is organized very well. So the playlists actually have a section for Hebrew.
And would there be services there too? I know that I went
Yes.
to.
Every,
Okay, so you can
every
actually,
single thing is there. And the best way, I think I've said this before to you all in our sidebar conversations, the best way to practice is to review the services or listen weekly on the live stream, which is on our website. But the recordings are all on YouTube.
and by the way, all our lessons are recorded too. So it wouldn't hurt to go back and review. And then let's say today we went through a lot of letters, but we didn't do a lot of reading. So you can review the letters again and then do the reading on your own. And by the way, I will be here. So if you ever need anything, I'm more than happy to work with you. Just contact me and I will explain anything that you need or whatever that is, you know? I mean,
I would like to say,
sorry, if you want to, let's say, practice something and send me the recording of you practicing, and then I can tell you if it's accurate or not, you can do that too. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Martine.
no, I just wanted to say thank you, Toda Rabba Dina, for your time, your dedication. I
Right.
really appreciate that over and over again. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your time and actually your commitment. And really, I don't believe any one of you ever missed a class. So this really brings me a lot of joy. Your commitment really does. Thank you for being my students. I mean, really, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yes, and thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I think-
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, everybody. And remember, now when we say shalom, there is a deeper meaning to shalom.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Shalom.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. I'll see you around, hopefully. And you can always contact me with any questions or concerns. Okay?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.